Wonderful. Thank you. So then we begin episode or session number 7, I do believe,
Mm-hmm.
of the Bald Mountain. Last session you began in combat against 2 large creatures that spewed frigid ice from their mouths and clawed and bit at you and all sorts. Grey, Blam, and Sandrell leaping into the fray. 2 mixed, but overall thoroughly successful effectiveness, with poor Atala taking the very sensible decision to hang about towards the back and throw some spells. We got to see a lovely example of Atala's own magical craft, with the book ribbons restraining one of the creatures, allowing it to be hacked down like an unwanted tree in Blam's orchard of death and destruction. Bungo also returned from wherever he was, having an interesting sort of final glimpse of his deity. Before you all headed north once more, eventually reaching the camp at the base of Mount Archelon. There, you met a number of different folk. You met some interesting shopkeepers with whom you formed an instant and memorable friendship. You met the improvised innkeep, Archie, and heard his tale of exile from Clan Archelon. You bought some supplies, some interesting little clockwork creatures from a happy gnome who enjoyed the work. And of course you rejoined, upon reaching the camp, you rejoined your good friend Grace and her flock. And I believe you spent the evening drinking and making merry with Archie, with the overall plan being to set forth on your ascent up the mountain in the morning. Just take a moment to say a big thank you to Natalie for making the amazing cover page, which I finally put onto a map. If anybody wishes to scribble tasks or plans onto the bit, they can. The day part I actually wanted to fill in myself, but in my searching for my notepad, because it was written down rather than in digital notes, I still can't find it. But I know the day to be somewhere in the early teens. You've actually taken a fair bit of time to get where you are, since you're setting off from Tresendar. But without further ado, let's take you over to the base camp map. Is there anything anyone would have liked to have done towards the ends of the evening or in the early morning? Sleep is unbroken. Don't all sleep.
Not that I can think of.
No,
No?
I don't think so.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
He's having fun. Wrestling with technology. Okay. Well then, upon the morn, dawn breaks. Oh, actually this needs to be the first of our stuff for going up the mountain. Could I have... I'm gonna say... Kieran's wrestling with stuff, so I'm gonna say Natalie, if you wouldn't mind. Could you roll 3d10 for me?
Sure. 20.
Okay. Find my notes. Here we are. So, in order, what were they?
7, 10, and then 3.
Okay. So, as you wake, I actually need to change the music a little bit. Because as you wake and you emerge from the tents provided to you by Archie, all in good faith, you note... Let's get rid of that one. You note that your visibility is extremely limited as you come out of the tent. Just waking up in the morning, you hear the canvas and skin of the tent flapping around, buffeted by quite powerful winds, and as you step outside, you can see snow, thick snow is being whipped about, and you find yourself limited to maybe 15, 20 feet of visibility in front of your own face. The weather seems to have taken quite a severe turn for the worse throughout the night.
Is it
But-
like...
Morning's there? Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, does it seem like it was expected, or is anyone kind of surprised?
If you take a look around the camp, people seem to be stirring and going about their day. It doesn't look like anyone is sort of cursing the sky or look of shock on their face.
I was gonna say, I don't know what weather forecasting is like in this world. I don't know, people even know how to read the weather.
Yeah, I think you'd know that people have sort of old wives' tales, but also little tips and tricks. Sometimes work, sometimes don't. But you could always ask Grace. She spent a good amount of time up here.
True, true.
They cannot.
No? Still nothing?
No, I think that's working now.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah? Ask away. I mean, I won't know the answer, but Tom will tell me.
Well, if Grace is around with us, then yeah, I'd be, just well, I'd look for Grace's reaction. If she looks pretty chill and calm, if she doesn't look surprised and suspicious or confused.
I'm not sure she'd give that much away, to be fair, but
Maybe I could do an insight on it.
you can try, Stefan.
Hmm.
Do it. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I'd say you've probably got a pretty good reading of her.
So, Grace, you'd know that the weather up here, as you get into the spine of the World Mountain Range itself, is pretty tempestuous. It can change quickly. It can get pretty nasty. You know that it's incredibly important for your ascent to keep a close eye on the weather and to not push your luck. But I would also say that you know that this weather, essentially a sort of a mild-ish blizzard, because you're getting the effect of the white up, it's not really driving you back inside, isn't too bad for the weather up here.
I fully imagine that the only reaction you'd get from Grace would be that she would, like, change her, what are they called? Veil and her wimple for, like, something a bit more weather-appropriate. A weather-appropriate wimple. A blizzard
Well, would it
wimple.
sort of come down the front a bit more, and then she like lifts it up over her mouth,
Yeah, pretty much. It'd just be one with, like, a curved edge.
leaving it like a
No.
slit. That sounds pretty cool, actually.
So you see Grace do that. Is there anything anyone would like to do?
I think Bungo would just be getting himself ready for the journey ahead at this point.
Yeah, supplies all packed up, bagged tightly,
Yeah,
strung.
more especially with the weather, probably just the cold weather clothing, whatever it's called.
Preparing his spells.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. We should probably do
Yeah,
that.
please do.
One of the last things I'll probably do is just go and check in on Tunka, see if he's finished that job.
Yeah, so as you head over in that direction, pulling your clothes tightly around you, you'd notice that the canvases set up above the stools have been heavily weighted down on the sides, left little room for loose flapping about. But you see, inside, looking pretty fresh-faced, a happy Briggs Tunka with a little metal clockwork canary sat on the table in front of him. He smiles at you as he sees you step up, and sort of calls out and says, "Not dissuaded by the weather, then?"
Good morning. Nah, I mean, could have probably stayed in bed for another hour, but I imagine this isn't going anytime soon, is it?
Tricky to tell. It can turn. I tried once to make a bit of a clockwork barometer, meteorology instrument, but it didn't really do much, and it just made the old man mad.
Old man?
Yes, Baghorn. He sort of nods his head towards over here, though you wouldn't see him at the moment. He'd be fast asleep.
Not too keen on the new technologies, is he?
He likes to watch them sometimes. I see him out of the corner of his eye, but as soon as it's put in place of the old ways and, you know, tricks and old ranger lore, he doesn't much like it challenging his way of thinking. But
That's just the older generations for you.
yeah, we get plenty of it in gnomish ways. But she's all ready for you. Just as you asked, spells properly enchanted. She should work perfectly fine. Cast her up in the air and she'll scan the surroundings, and she's able to properly use the alarm spell that you asked for.
That's fantastic. I'd give her a whirl now, but I wouldn't trust her in these winds. I might not get her back.
Yeah, yes, probably a good idea. Though not, I suppose it's a benefit, really. Not quite as slave to the elements as a normal bird would be. No feathers to speak of, but still, something like this, she'll catch the wind a little, and if you're going up the mountain, there'll be times when you're probably stood pretty close to a rather big drop.
I'll pick my moments carefully, that's for sure. How much will it be? I can't remember if I'd already paid him or not.
You paid me already.
Well, she looks beautiful, so have a platinum piece. Anyway.
Very kind, thank you. Pleasure, and I wish you all the best with her. She's an odd one, but she should serve you well.
So is it currently sort of inanimate? Is it just sort of standing there?
It's just standing there at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I'll go to scoop it up. Does it react, or does it remain inanimate?
As you put your hand down to like scoop her up, she like hops into your palm. And he smiles and says, "Yep, working fine."
Gray takes a close look at it and sort of gives him a nod of approval. Like, pleasure doing business. Wish us luck.
The very best luck.
So I suppose pockets the canary.
Yeah, if you look in your inventory, I've put the canary in your backpack. Pick.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Lovely.
on close inspection, you'd see very tightly wound clockwork inside, the occasional little spark of magical energy. She doesn't outwardly appear obviously magical. She's not glowing or anything, but from her movements and the fact that she doesn't need winding up or anything, you can tell that, of course, she is magical.
I think I ordered one as well, didn't I, Tom?
You did.
Was it
Also,
one that
in
was
your
ready or not? Or...
it was one that was ready. You bought the squirrel.
Oh yeah. Just couldn't remember whether I ordered it and didn't get it or.
No, you wanted to buy the squirrel that was already there, but you asked if it could be enchanted further, which he happily obliged. So you would be picking it up as well, and it's also in your inventory, in your backpack.
Let me have a look. Mm-hmm.
But again, just like Gray, as you go to pick up the little clockwork creature, the squirrel kind of scurries forward into your hand before resuming its default position of sat on its haunches as if nibbling away at an acorn.
Cute. Very cute.
Yeah. It sits happily in your hand and he gives you a big smile and wishes you the very best of luck as well.
Yeah. I don't think there was anything more around here.
Oh. Yeah. The only other thing any of you would notice as you're sort of getting yourselves ready for the day is that the group of dwarves who'd set themselves up over on this side seem to be also packing their stuff up and making as if ready to start their own journey.
Interesting.
They haven't started moving yet, though.
At the moment, they're packing away tents.
Okay. I'll probably, just before we leave, kind of keep an eye and see whether or not they're coming or going.
Okay.
I think you probably see, like, with the snow hitting against his face, very barely visible, the small, diminutive form of Bungo, like, dragging, like, his and Atala's stuff kind of up through the snow, up the path towards Blam and Sandrao and everyone, and kind of, like, barely being able to see as he steps in front of him, and he sort of, like, bumps into the back of Blam's leg, I imagine, and it's just like, oh, Blam, oh, I can barely see a thing in this weather. What do you see up there, old friend?
Can I see much?
The blizzard's obscuring your view just as much as anybody else's, but you do have a better viewpoint compared to Bungo. You'd see people going about their day, sort of having to wade their way through the driving wind. Extra details. Do a perception check for me.
Yeah.
Is it just wind, or is it heavy snow as well?
There's snow. It's not too heavy at the moment.
Okay.
But there is snow and it's being whipped around.
So I'm aware Bungo's pretty short, and if this snow starts piling up too high...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I was imagining a lot of it's like just flurry being thrown around from the ground with the wind, and Bungo being 3 foot tall is probably going to get hit in the face with a lot of it.
Yep.
It's alright,
Oh,
we'll
nice.
get Bungo a periscope.
I think you should just put Bungo in a hamster ball, let him roll around.
Go zorbing.
Blam, excellent perception check. Yeah, you sort of cast an eye around, even through the driving blizzard. Again, you see these guys. They're pretty efficient at what they're doing. They've almost broken down the tents now and are slinging things on their backs. You would notice in particular that the guy in the middle is doing very little work himself. He's not really packing anything away. He sort of gestures to have his backpack put on his back for him, and his backpack's a lot smaller than the other guy's backpacks.
Wow, I thought those fucking glasses were actually part of the token, whoever drew those on.
No, but thank you to whoever did, because it's great. And Blam, you would also notice that whilst everyone else is like having to lean into the wind as they move around and pull their clothes tight around themselves, the Clan Archelon guards are stood still exactly the same as they were before. Just rigid, back straight, shoulders squared in their armor, the snow sort of just striking their face and body, settling on across themselves, and there's no reaction really at all.
All seems to be in order.
Glad to hear it. Did I ever tell you I heard that, well, I heard a story that up in, 10 towns that apparently they, like to dunk their children in the icy lake. Apparently it builds up the immunity to the cold or something.
Well, I'm not sure if I would approve of that, but whatever.
I can't say I would either. Good morning, Sandrao.
Sandrao is dead.
Well, that was the
Hide
short-lived
from Frost outside.
character.
Probably making her tea.
Probably. So what's the plan? Are we going to float up the mountain? Just gonna shuffle your feet?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah?
What was this? Wasn't there something about Grace needing to test us? Or was it someone else?
Grace?
It was,
Yeah, go ahead.
It was that Grace was going to tell the people the guards that they were worthy to come through, but they had to remain,
True to Bahamut, right?
yeah, and that as soon as she saw anything that meant that they were unworthy, then they were gone. She would leave them in the snow to die.
Which...
She's stone fucking cold.
No, she's just
So
got
Grace
a
is-
conclusion, eh?
So Grace is familiar with the guards then. She's probably seen them a number of times, coming back and forth.
Grace has done this quite a few times, so if I die on the way up, this is going to be really embarrassing.
Well, no, they're going to be so suspicious of us.
Yeah, so Tala gets her little squirrel. She comes up where everyone's waiting, I assume, the bottom of the mountain. I hope this is a bit quicker than I expected, because I'll be honest, Bungo, I much prefer sitting by the fire with a book, not so much the snow.
Can't help but agree, dear. Can't say I've ever been this far north, and well, us halflings aren't really designed to operate in the snow.
Well, I'm worried about losing you halfway through the snow, you know? I mean, I can barely see my legs already in the snow, let alone you.
Well, we may have to employ the old Blam swamp strategy.
And what might that be?
I've told you the stories before, where he carried me on his shoulders like some kind of, master frog creature you might read about in the stories.
Oh, I see. Well, I'm sure they don't want the extra burden, but maybe.
Oh, I'm sure Blam wouldn't mind. Nothing's, as a fellow as light as me is, nothing compared to the might of, Mr. Blam Wolfhorn's muscles.
Might be true. Well, maybe if you need an hour, then I can cast this floating disc and I can carry your stuff for a while. Maybe save some exertion.
I think that's a good idea, dear. Yes, that would be helpful rather than me lugging it all the way up.
It only lasts an hour, so it's only when you need a break.
Well, I'll take the opportunity of a break when I can get one, I suppose.
That's what I... Are we waiting for anyone else?
I don't believe so. I think, we're just waiting for Grey to get his things together, and then we should be ready to get on the road.
Hey, guys.
I was gonna say, he's ahead of me. Hello, Grey.
He's always lurking in the shadows somewhere.
Well,
Yeah,
the
and
sooner
Grey,
we go, the better.
And Grey, you would have noticed as the time is wearing on now, the group of dwarves in formation around their leader, heading over to the guard post. And assuming you wanted to keep an eye on them, you would have noticed that a slightly more, this guard would have moved out of the way, a slightly more ornately dressed white dragonborn, looks to be a bit older, a bit more long in the tooth, fang, step out of the guard post. Again, the same kind of straight spine, squared shoulders attitude. Looks the dwarves up and down, doesn't look particularly impressed, before the man in the middle of the group, the dwarf in the middle of the group, presents a scroll. You can't see the writing from where you are, but he holds up a scroll, hands it rather pompously over to the white dragonborn, who keeps eye contact with the dwarf, but takes the scroll, opens it, reads it, looks to sort of mull things over before stepping aside, and the dwarf, along with his group, begin to head down the path.
Well, they didn't seem to have much problem getting through.
That looked easy.
Well, I'm sure it'll be no problem for us then.
Who's got the scroll?
Would Grace recognise him from a previous journey?
The dwarves.
Yeah.
Um.
I'm just thinking that we might know that it's easier for them to get in if she knows that they've already been up and proven themselves.
You would not have seen. You would not have seen the main dwarf on a journey before. You might have seen him in Mirabar itself, as you've been passing through on previous journeys. In fact, let's make a roll of it. If you can, could you roll a history
I'll think about it.
for me, please?
If you ask nicely.
14. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say you've seen him about in Mirabar, and certainly he likes to make a big enough deal of things that you would know who he is. He's Varda Sunderston, the first son of the family Sunderston, brother to Verenia.
I was going to say, does that make him Ingvar's brother? But no, can't do, can it?
He would be, yeah.
Ooh!
So you'd know that he, is sort of a scion of a powerful dwarven house, especially in Mirabar. That he likes to get involved with a lot of things. He's got quite a different style to Verenia, whereas Verenia very much is sort of the diplomat and the deal maker.
Okay.
He's more of a this is my right to be a big deal kind of guy.
Okay, and what would his honorific title be?
He wouldn't have a title in
He'd just be
Mirabar.
Mr. Sunderston.
His father should be addressed as Submarchian, but he would just be, Mr. Sunderston.
Okay. Then Grace would just say to the rest of the group, yes, Mr. Sunderston has enough money and enough experience to prove himself, and has proven himself before. It may not be so easy for yourselves to traverse through the gates.
Well, if only Elodius were here, he would have more than enough money to prove himself.
It is not just about your money and your status. It is what you do with it towards the glory of Bahamut. Sorry, I'm shaking my chips in the air fryer at the same time.
That's fine.
Everyone can hear that weird noise.
Well,
Grace has an air fryer.
well, of course, I would think we'd all imagine to aim to stay in Bahamut's good grace, in light of our journey.
When do y'all think we'll be setting off?
Same to you, Grace.
Yeah, I don't know though, so I was trying to unmute myself because I'm eating a meringue.
I think probably as early as possible. You're
Okay.
here to get these people up the mountain. You would, I guess, probably reassure people about the weather, if you haven't already done so,
Okay.
that whilst this isn't ideal, weather changes quickly on the mountain and up here in the spine of the world, and that if you're not willing to move in a blizzard like this, then you're not going to get very far.
Okay. Yeah. What he said.
Sounds good. Should we start moving now then? Well, I suppose I'm gonna see if we need to have a marching order. Who's going first?
I think
Bongo
Grace
looks to
would probably
Blam.
go first.
Oh yeah, Grace.
Yeah, set yourselves up in a marching order. That'd be useful. Grace would know, and I think has already communicated that once you're on the steps, you can go 2 abreast at a maximum.
Okay. Just because I want to do the rope tying idea.
Oh yeah.
Probably tying little people to big people is probably a good idea.
Amazing.
I'll go at the back.
Okay.
Tie me to Blam.
I'll stand next to Bongo, and then you can tie me to whoever's standing next to Blam.
If Blam falls off, I'm gonna be fucking screwed though.
Yeah. Well, if you
Blam
fall
will.
off, you'll be screwed anyway.
True.
He's less likely to fall off than me or you.
That's a good point.
All right then. Let's arrange ourselves on the map for the sake of visual accuracy.
How old is Sandral?
Like 19.
Okay, so she's not tiny petite child.
No,
She should be able to hold herself.
she'd probably be quite live.
Yeah.
Ropey.
Yeah.
Oh, I've thought about it.
Strong as grey.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Kieran, the way you said live was really.
Lie.
Got that new commission in the works? Or... Right, who's getting tied to a tower then? Remember, it's not just you guys. You have Grace, you have Temkin and Rayla Abtel. You have Gangsterthal, who is quite big, the Dragonborn guy. And then Father Wright, who you probably don't want to tie anybody to. No, double Sandral. Yeah, we have fake Sandral.
That's the real. How did you know?
No, I mean that's if everyone agrees that you want to tie people to people. You know, it's not just
Yeah. Of course.
Seems
I think
like a good
Sandra
idea.
would want to go ahead because she's got like the ring of jumping and stuff, so she can be like the scout.
That sounds
Mm.
good.
Well, not scout in front, but scouting. You know. You know.
It might
Well,
just be worth tying the rope when we get to a particularly, sort of really narrow crevice or
It's
something
more-
where we have to.
it's more for like the winds, because apparently the mountain's quite steep, right? So if you fall, you're gonna fall fucking mile away.
Sandra does have feather fall, I think. Wait, does she? What do monks get? I don't know. They get something like that, don't they?
It's quite high
Yeah.
level though.
Parachute pants, isn't that it?
Yes, that is the skill.
Yes, my monk training has provided me with parachute. Yes, you have. I think it's just called like slow fall or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
um,
slow fall. You can use your action when you fall to reduce any fall damage you take by 35.
Well, I know what I'm gonna have a monk in the future have.
Parachute pants.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gertrude's gonna get some.
Okay. Well, we'll keep it a loose thing because, yeah, that's fine.
Tie me
But
to
are
Blam.
you tying yourself to Blam now?
Yes,
Yep. Fair enough.
that's never a bad idea.
You've got enough time and enough
Strap
people
on
around.
like Dr. Evil and Mini-Me.
I assumed it was like a lead,
Yeah.
like a trailing rope, not like a baby carrier on the front of Blam. But you know, whatever you want. But yeah, you got enough people around to make sure it's particularly tight and secure, properly attached to Blam. I'll keep that in mind for future things when I try and sweep you off the mountain.
Who's this guy? Does he look strong? I'll attach himself to that.
That's the guy you borrowed a book from.
Oh yeah.
Thanks, Ithal.
Oh,
You've got
that's
a
probably not
passing
very strong.
acquaintance with him. No, he
No,
looks. He's a dragonborn and he's fairly tall, so he looks pretty chunky. Certainly more so than the couple who are a bit on the shorter and slimmer side, and then obviously Father Wright is gonna have an
Yeah.
interesting time going up the mountain. But
Okay, let's tie myself to that guy. It's
yeah,
better than my
he'd
strength, anyway.
love it. He loves the idea.
Cool.
Very clever. Amazing. So are we heading to the guard post,
Mm-hmm.
Think so.
Yeah,
Great, in the
do it.
lead. or is Blam just gonna barge through them?
Yeah, I'm gonna barge through.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
it-
Grace is already like, this one is unworthy.
Okay, I'm gonna assume Grace is taking the lead then.
Yes, very much so.
Okay. You can barge through if you want. It
No,
would
no, no.
You
take the
can, but
campaign
you're
in an
left on
interesting
that fucking
direction.
mountain.
Blan would have backed out if she gets to have a look.
Gives him the cat look. Okay, so Grace, as you
That's
head
right.
towards the guard post, you being recognised, the guard blocking the path would step aside. Well, he'd knock on the little window next to him, step aside, and once more, the more ornately dressed Dragonborn inside would step out. You would recognize him, Grace. You would know his name is Archelon Corinth. You know him to be an experienced warrior, in his later years, but certainly not fully past his prime. Still a very capable fighter. You know that he has done a lot of traveling up and down the Sword Coast, and you've probably, I think, swapped stories at some points. And that as such, because of his time spent away from the mountain, he's kind of viewed with a little bit of suspicion by some of the more Puritan elements of the clan. And so he quite happily spends his time being sort of this first port of call down here.
Okay,
base.
so you would have seen him there at the base before.
100%, yeah.
And what was his name again? Archelon?
Corinth.
Ah, Archelon Corinth. It is a pleasure to see you here again.
And you, Grace? You've brought an extensive crew this time, more than you usually do.
I bring a group of more penitents than usual.
Wow.
Yes, they all wish to climb Mount Archelon to revere Bahamut.
He passes his eyes over the group.
Wait, what? Why is everybody laughing?
I think Natalie's probably laughing just imagining him looking at the motley crew.
No, I was imagining Bongo being in the mini-me carrier and be like, hello.
I love Bahamut! 2 thumbs up.
Grace goes to her front like a baby. Hi.
Yeah, he'd look over everyone, but with everyone wrapped up in cold weather clothing, there's not much iconography or what have you to be seen. He kind of slowly nods, looks back at Grace, and just says, "All right, you're vouching for them then?"
As I always do, I do not bring people to the mountain I am not sure of.
True enough. They all know the drill as well.
Keep your arms and legs inside the ride at all times.
Pretty much. They know, well, he kind of raises his voice and calls out to the lot of you. You won't be assisted on your pilgrimage. We see it as fair in the eyes of the Platinum Dragon that you're judged on your own deeds, perseverance, sense of duty, and fervor for the dragon himself.
Yeah, Sandra will like hold out her fist, which has the faithful filigree ring on, and be like, "Yeah, we know we're strong enough, and we know that Bahamut will be watching over us."
Look at my bling.
Yeah, exactly.
He'd look down at that and kind of give a gentle little smirk. Just says, "See, we've been to the stalls. Well, take care and listen to Grace. She's made this journey many times."
Don't worry. If we die on the mountain, you don't have to come bother with our bodies. I'm sure Bahamut will look over us.
Jesus Christ, Kieran.
He'd smile at that and look you in the eye, Sandra, and just say, "We don't touch the bodies. People are left where they fall."
We didn't burn him.
Is there any are there any particular people who've fallen who we could be on the lookout for?
There are a number of different people. If you stick to the stair itself, you likely won't see too many. They often spend their last few moments crawling for shelter, or in a cold-induced delirium, throw themselves off the side of the mountain itself.
Is there anyone who's gone missing recently that we can keep an eye out for? Or is it not that forgiving?
Are you here to rescue another pilgrim that's fallen?
No, but we might as well try if there are any recent ones.
Sort of gives you a longer look this time, kind of reassessing you. Well, further up, just before the bridge, we had a group go missing. It's not often that no one in a group makes it. You'd see them in red livery.
What colour are they wearing?
They were in red.
No, I mean, what colour are these guys wearing?
Oh, the clan.
Yeah.
They have embossed on the armor wherever there's a crest of Bahamut, which is 3 or 4 times across each of their sets of armor. There's a blue enameling behind the silver crest, but their actual tabards and such, excuse me, are a red background, like a crimson red with a white mountain.
Did they belong to your clan?
He looks down. No, we wouldn't have abandoned those of our own.
Who were they? Were they just pilgrims, or is there any reason they had red livery on?
Only pilgrims pass through. He sort of narrows his eyes, looking at you there.
But what was their allegiance?
No,
Why are they all wearing red?
red is not the color of the dragon, as usually. As far as I understood, they were from Luskan. Grace isn't the only guide. Another guide was taking them up the mountain.
Yeah, Grace is as close to face palming as you'll see her. Apparently.
Well, we're keeping a lookout for them. I mean, red on white is quite easy to see.
He nods. Well, we won't be helping you, but I can wish you luck. Stay in Grace's good hands, and she's seen many a group through to the finish without any casualties before.
I'm sure she'll be a very fruitful guide.
Stands to attention. Is out of the way. The path is clear. I assume you head through.
Thank you.
Deep breath. Goes through.
Yeah. He looks down at, or up, as you all pass him, kind of taking in each of you with a scanning eye. And then he looks at Grace and sees Grace just, I assume, looking ahead, getting ready for the journey.
Grace is preparing herself, is meditating upon Bahamut and his glory.
Very good.
Sandra gives them the finger bows as she goes through.
Finger bows.
Yeah, I remember from the first campaign, ladies did it.
I do remember.
Vaguely.
Yeah, he kind of huffs, and you see 2 little plumes of hot breath jet from his nostrils. Doesn't return the finger bows. Looks kind of at the back of Grace's head with a slightly eyebrow raised expression, but heads back inside his guard post.
Tala gives Bungo a little hand squeeze, gives him a little kiss. She's like, we'll make it, dear. It's alright.
I hope so.
I don't think my legs are gonna thank me for this, though.
Certainly not. Mine either.
In Natalie, God's sake.
That's amazing.
I'm gonna have to turn that into some kind of token. Okay. It's Blam's posture with the arms down. It's like
To me,
battle
it's the
ready,
fact that
Blam.
Blam is only wearing a pair of black underpants.
Yeah.
That's what
That's
he
what
always
Blam wears
has.
under his big coat.
Amazing.
Sexy.
I like to imagine Blam's winter weather clothing version of his outfit is just he has like a beanie on his head or something, or a pair of mittens,
Yeah.
and that's the only difference.
That's pretty much it.
Okay. Right then. So, with that, you head along the path. The path is well maintained. you see these stone walls either side of you as you begin sort of two abreast, moving along, crunching on the gravel beneath. Snow is settling, but on the gravel itself it's not sticking around really. As you march towards, and the mountain begins to loom ever higher in front of you. So
Bungo would sort of move off on his leash a little bit towards Sandral.
Yep.
And he'd say, oh, this weather, did Elodius ever, or Peleus ever train you for anything like this?
Not really.
No, I can't say I've ever been this far north. I was going to say to you, Sandral, you since you seemed awfully interested in the relics back in Mirabar, I was chatting with the bartender down at the Platinum Flagon, the little small setup they had last the previous evening, and he told me that was it at the monastery, Tom, at the top of the bell tower?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
He'd say at the monastery they have a bell tower apparently, and he said at the very top there's a stash with a powerful holy relic called the Platinum Claw.
Oh.
I thought maybe you might be interested. Maybe something.
Wait, what?
Is that Grey? Wait, what?
No, that's me.
Yeah.
Oh, it sounded like Stefan. I thought it was Stefan too.
Wait,
I
what?
thought it was Stefan too, yeah. What the hell? Sorry.
I'm
Yeah.
confused.
Bungo's just told you that the night, which you were there as well, but Bungo had a conversation earlier with Archie, the barkeep, in the little sort of makeshift tent tavern he has there, that he'd told Bungo about a little stash of his goods hidden in the bell tower at the Rheinbreath Monastery, that he's told Bungo about, with the idea that it is kind of a trade. You guys are welcome to the goods if you can check in with his sister,
Archelon
Trika.
Trika.
Archelon Trika.
Mm-hmm.
So he's mentioning that to you, Sandral.
Yeah, he'd explain that.
Yeah, she just nodded along.
I don't know. Perhaps something Elodius might be interested in.
Well, maybe, but he's not here, is he?
It's a good point. Maybe something you'll be interested in then.
Maybe. I'm not sure yet.
Well, I imagine if anyone could scale a bell tower, it would be you. I'm sure Grey could do it as well, but he's, he's getting a bit, I've seen I've been watching him close, and, his old legs are getting a little bit, haven't got quite the same spring in them when we first went into Neverwinter as part of the Arrows.
Okay, and how loudly are you saying this?
It's the weather's everywhere, you can't hear me. Oh no, it went off. Oh shit.
I hear you just fine, bitch.
I'm gonna roll a stealth check. And
Do
it's
it.
gonna be real bad.
You have an advantage.
Oh, re-roll with a 1. No.
Roll again.
Oh, with advantage.
Yeah, because of the blizzard. You're still going to roll very well. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you hear him, Grey, cutting through the wind.
Uh-oh.
Grey will remember that.
Oh god. ...
Okay. So as you start to get towards the base of the mountain itself, it's maybe only another 500-600 feet beyond the base camp, where you make out the first of these stairs cut into the stone, many of them taking on Their namesake have almost a platinum sheen to them with how they've been worn down by the elements and people's own footsteps. You've heard about that people carve their names into the steps, the furthest they can get to on their ascent up Mount Archelon, though no one's sad enough to carve their name on the steps right at the beginning. So the ones right at the bottom here are clean and well worn. As you look up, you see a foreboding sight, as far as you can really see in this blizzard. But you see the dark shape of the mountain itself just towering up above you, seemingly endless from the angle you're at right now. Grace, taking the lead, has made this journey before, and she knows exactly where to go. And that, Grace, you know that for now, the first stretch of the stairs, there shouldn't be anything peculiar that needs any kind of special treatment. It's just going to be a trudge up the steps. Bungo with and Atala, and everyone really, with a bit of a sinking heart, you see just how steep these steps are, cut into the stone themselves. They are made for the legs of a healthy dragonborn adult, so it's going to be a difficult time. So, with the weather in the condition that it is, and with this being a very difficult journey, this isn't like your normal traveling, going over land, just walking along. You are on the ultimate Stairmaster. You're going step up after step, up a steep mountain in incredibly cold, difficult conditions, and as such, there are some different rules for travel. But each hour, well, in fact, first thing I should say is, could I have from each of you your Constitution modifier, please?
+1.
+1 for Bungo.
+1.
+1 for Atala.
+0.
+0 for Grace.
+2 for Blam.
+2 for Blam.
+3 for Sandro.
3 for Central. The youth.
Same for Grey.
Oh, okay, interesting. For the party, and particularly Grace's benefit, Father Wright's Constitution modifier is -1.
Ooh.
Gangsithal's Constitution modifier is +2. And both Rayla and Temkin, Abtel's Constitution modifier is +1. Okay, so, with your con mod in mind, traveling up the mountain, characters will gain a point of exhaustion for each hour traveled beyond their con modifier's number of hours. Okay? However, this count gets reset upon a short rest. So, with... well, I might give Grace... Yeah, Grace, I might give you like an honorary +2 because you've made the journey so many times before. But, for example, if Bungo travels 2 hours, he will get a point of exhaustion. Because after that first hour, which he can sort of will himself through, that second hour is going to give him exhaustion. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yep.
You reset that count when you short rest. Short resting is... With Grace with you, you can short rest at any time. So you can just find a little spot off to the side of the stairs with a bit of shelter and a bit of your own packs making shelter for you. You can take a short rest. Long rests, however, have to be taken in a proper sheltered location. Grace knows the best locations for this on the ascent up the mountain. The first location which you'll be aiming for in this day of travel is an old abandoned bear cave.
Bear claw.
Indeed. Apart from that,
Does she know how long away that is? With how many rests we can have?
she certainly would know that. She would know that the bear cave is about 4 hours of stair climbing travel away.
Okay.
So you've got some hours to use for short rests and what have you.
So 1 hour rest. 1 hour rest. 1 hour.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. with yeah, I know with normal rules you have like limitations to your number of short rests. That's not the case here. This is an extremely difficult climb, both lore-wise and mechanics-wise. So you can take as many short rests as you need to take, but all other rules normally apply. Exhaustion only loses 1 level of exhaustion on a long rest. The only way you're going to get beyond that is with magic.
Mhm.
Father Right is fucked.
Yeah. Someone might have to carry him.
Oh yeah. So, with that in mind, Grace lets you all know. Well, would Grace let people know how far it is, Anya?
I feel like see, I'm torn because I feel like at the same point of like she would think, well, it's good to be informed and it's good to know. She'd also be like, well, I don't want to put them off.
Sure.
Do we have much choice in how quickly we travel?
No, not really.
Okay.
I mean,
It's slow
No.
or fucking slow.
yeah, the idea of like sprinting upstairs for an hour is kind of like.
Hey man, good cardio.
They're icy and snowy as well.
They are icy and snowy. Oh, thank you for reminding me. So, as you probably guessed from Natalie rolling the 3d10s, weather is tempestuous up here in the mountains, and I'll be having
Good job,
people roll for each day. So, yeah, with the blizzard actually, travel is completed at half speed.
Mm-hmm.
Ouch.
Shit.
So this first day is already going to be tough because you've got to get 4 hours of travel. Although maybe the weather will change.
Can we
past midday.
adjust the marching order so
Of course.
that Atala can cast Tensor's floating disc?
Mhm.
It's a ritual, and it lasts.
Move us over to this map.
And it lasts.
Oh, creepy.
It lasts an hour. It lasts an hour. Okay, so the idea was to have -1 guy sit on the disc so that he doesn't get exhaustion every 5 minutes.
Yep. He would, at first,
It's 3
refuse.
foot in diameter.
At first, he'd be very proud and be like, "No, I can do this fine." And then try and like, march off in front, and then very swiftly be like, and say, "Thank you, young lady," and kind of collapse down on the disc.
Yeah. The only reason I want to adjust the marching order is because it has to be 20 feet behind me, so I kind of need to be at the front.
Well, use this map, drag yourselves out, put yourself in the marching order you're going up. You are limited to 2 abreast now that you're on the platinum stair.
I still want to be tied to that guy though, so he's got to be in front of me.
That's fine. He's a very amenable gentleman. He'll go where he's asked.
How?
Alright, assuming... Oh, sorry.
Sorry, go on, Gray. It's fine.
I was just going to say, is the weather too thick to be able to see ahead and see the dwarves that went before us?
Certainly, you don't have any vision of them at the moment.
What about their tracks? Can we at least see their tracks?
Unfortunately, with the blizzard, their tracks are
Oh.
being swiftly covered up by the snow
Oof.
driving down into the ground. It is also the same for you guys, though. Your passage is fully hidden by the driving blizzard.
That's cool.
How long did you say we have to travel into our first sort of resting point?
Your first long resting point is 4 hours of travel away.
Father Wrights is an hour
So-
ago.
If I cast Freedom of Movement on Grace,
Hmm.
it only lasts for an hour, but I can cast it multiple times. I'll put it in the chat of what it does. If I cast that on Grace, would that give us maybe some extra time we could get with allowing her to kind of guide us more effectively with the fact that she would be unaffected by the weather, sort of thing.
Interesting.
No, because the rest of us would still need to be able to keep up, right?
Yeah, I can. I will say, I will say it's not going to help with the overall time, but I will say that it would help Grace with managing farther right once Atala's done with the disc, if that's of use to you.
Yeah, I'll expend at least one spell slot. I think is reasonable.
Cool. So for the first 2 hours, he is taken care of. But 1 hour passes. You are all just in this blizzard. It's disorienting. It's surreal. Being so limited in your vision, there aren't beautiful sights of the mountain and such for you to take in. The wind howls and claws at any exposed skin as you find yourself leaning forward into the blizzard and huddling for what warmth you can get to circulate through your body and your warm weather clothing. Grace is stoic at the front. I grab her.
So we've been traveling an hour. We've only got half an hour toward the 4 hours already.
Yep.
Because we're hot. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly right.
Shit.
With the hour past, Bungo and Atala in particular, and you would also note, Grace, that Rayla and Temkin are looking to flag a little bit. They can push on, all those people, but if they do, they will gain a point of exhaustion. What would you guys like to do? Keep pushing?
Probably rest so that I can also cast the floating disc again. Because it only lasts an hour.
That's
I'm
smart.
gonna cast Beacon of Hope on everyone within range,
Okay.
which only lasts for a minute, but it does bestow hope and vitality, it says. And it
Cool.
also gives advantage on wisdom saving throws and death saving throws, and regains maximum number of hit points from any healing for the next minute.
Okay.
So it's not that useful, but it might give like a potential, like, my thought was like, instead it says instills hope, so it might give it a temporary kind of boost, which might...
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, definitely let's not limit ourselves to exact wording. I love that. What I'll say for that is, if you do want to take a short rest, it will halve the time you need to take the short rest.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Good, yeah. Need that.
Is that what we're doing? Grace?
Grace is leader in.
I don't know why you're asking me. You don't know
You're
I'm
leadering the group.
I know, but the character is, not me.
You are the character. Okay.
If only I was such a bamf as Grace.
You're the cat
So-
now, dog.
Half an hour spent with a short rest, I'll say. So, you come off the path, Grace finds you a craggy sort of area of rock just to squat down in amongst them, and though it doesn't seem like much, you're grateful for it as the rocks break the strength of the wind, and you find yourself actually able to speak in normal speaking voices to each other. With Bungo's burst of Lyra's light, you feel yourself instilled with hope and energy, and with that, you don't need as long to catch your breath and rest before you start off once more.
Someone remind me why Jorik chose to live up here again.
I believe he's a white dragon. They like the cold, right?
Oh, God.
Oh, right, it's probably looking alright. He's been sitting on a disc the whole time.
Is that disc like Aang's special trick?
I think he would probably sit on it in a similar manner, yeah, to be honest.
Yeah.
I will say for this whole time, though he is facially adopting a very stoic demeanor, between the sort of swiftly gathering snow crystals in his beard and his shivering form, and between the shivering and his own movements, you can sort of see through the furs and the robes that he looks to be quite a gaunt old fellow. He's probably struggling a little bit, but the disc is a very big deal.
Yes.
Okay, so Grace brings you back onto the wonderful stairs, which you're probably already sick of the sight of, and you begin to pace forward. Still no names to be seen carved into the steps themselves. The steps wind up through rocks, sometimes flattening out a little bit, which is blessed relief as it sort of manages cutbacks up a steep incline. But the majority of the time is spent on a harsh sort of 30 to 40 degree angle where you're just stepping up and up and up and up. The blizzard continues to whip around you as another hour passes, and another half hour due to the blizzard of progress is made. You've now
Rest, please.
another rest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Another spell slot, or are we doing a full hour's short rest?
Yeah, I'll spend another spell slot.
Okay. So you find yourselves repeating the same measure. This time, Grace just takes you into the lee wood area of a cliff face, gathers you down, and shows you how to build up your backpacks all together as like a windbreak, and you huddle around with the wind still whipping over to the side. You sort of look around again, very little to see with the blizzard still in place.
I use my little igloo making powers to add a little wall as well.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, and that certainly helps contribute to the scant but very much appreciated comfort of this short rest. Another half hour passes before you're back on the stairs themselves. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So another hour. Spent. Another half hour's progress.
Made very far.
You've gone an hour and a half's worth of distance.
I hope you're looking around for baddies.
I'm always looking around.
Yeah. Vision is very difficult here with the blizzard, but Bungo's eyes are very keen, and is hearing as well. 1, 2, 3. Okay. You reached the end of that third hour. Are we pushing on? Are we doing another rest?
Just gonna cast Cloud Kill on us and just let us die here.
Cloud Kill would be rather ineffective due to the
Very good point. Can't even have that.
Another beacon of hope, or are we doing a normal?
Oh fuck. Oh, that would be all my third level spell slots gone.
Yeah. You're not using them for anything else though, are you? We need to get there, otherwise we die.
I'm just looking. Yeah, I'll use one more.
Okay. So another half hour rest. Getting into the rhythm of climbing, your legs aching, but Bungo's restorative magic with Lyra, you can't help but, if at least briefly, smile as the joyous light runs through you. You're re-energized once more. I'd say amongst the group of pilgrims, Temkin and Rayla are looking a little bit rattled. Perhaps they didn't quite expect the severity of the climb. But Gangsathal, the Dragonborn, seems to be loving things. He's sort of smiling around, an occasional comment about, "Isn't this amazing? We're going up the real Mount Archelon." But whether you respond or he's just met with sour expressions is entirely up to you guys. So...
Tala's interested in the surroundings, but she's kind of cold. I could appreciate its beauty a bit more if it weren't so cold.
He would say, yes, it's not ideal, really. I find myself having to claw ice from my body, but you can't put a price on on an authentic experience?
I suppose it depends on what. Yeah, I mean, your life is a pretty big price, but let's hope
Well,
it doesn't come to that.
yeah, we've got the best guide around. It's just
We
some
do.
stairs. It's not easy, but can't see how we're likely to die.
She looks down towards the bottom of the mountain. So,
Mhm.
well, just don't lose your footing, eh?
No, I suppose that would probably do it, really, wouldn't it? But important to soak it all in, really live the moment.
Certainly, I can't wait to see a sunrise. I think that'd be quite interesting in this weather.
Mm,
Hopefully, if the snowstorm goes away.
that's an incredible thought. And as you're discussing, enough time has passed now that we move to our second phase of weather, for which Natalie rolled a 10.
Oh, good.
Hey.
As the half-hour short rest empowered by Lyra's light kicks through, Grace, if you're there, I know you're running around, love.
I am, but go for it.
Grace, you would notice warning signs.
Oh.
Your cat ears would prick up, whiskers a shiver, and you'd think to yourself, uh-oh. Because
Yeah.
whilst the weather can be a hindrance and an annoyance, sometimes the weather can get really bad.
Great.
These almost unique to the mountain range and referred to as such as the wrath of the spine.
We're going to die.
There's a certain kind of storm which is now beginning to flood in. Lightning begins to crash and crackle across the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Dark clouds, heavier winds. No longer is it just snow hurtling all around you, but chunks of ice begin to strike into your bodies and cut at exposed flesh, as it truly feels like nature itself has turned against you. Like fists of ice striking into your body, great carving blades of wind, and even the stones of the mountain dislodged by thunder and lightning tumble down from above, seemingly clawing at the tiny flames of life that are crawling up the side of the giant mountain itself.
Maybe we should find a place to wait out this storm. Ow!
Did you hear that, Grace? Passes up the message.
Yep.
I don't really know what Grace would do. She'd just be like, bunch of wimps, but
It's
wanna do, like, a
real
wisdom
hard
check
enough
or
to
something?
be his flesh.
Yeah. because I feel like Grace would be like, Bahamut will save us. No need to worry. But also, she'd probably be like, yeah, these first timers, I'll take it easy on them.
Hmm.
So, Grace, you would know that
Would I?
the abandoned bear cave is the only proper shelter nearby,
Great.
and still many hours off. This is just the nature of climbing the mountain. There are stretches where you really don't have proper shelter to speak of. You have these sort of crags and such where you can dip down, but you also know that in this severe storm, any canvas or furs or tarpaulin you try to put up is just going to get ripped away and off into the blizzard itself.
Excellent.
You know that though it will be painful, both figuratively and literally, the best thing to do is to press on.
Great. Well, you can tell them.
So Grace would say that to you. But Grace, I think you'd probably also advise people to gather in close. Father Wright cannot go on his disc for this because you're going to turn around at some point and he won't be on the disc anymore.
So I sort of blanked out there for a second because I was looking at my spells. What was Grace's reasoning for not stopping?
That there is nowhere worthwhile to take shelter in this stretch of the stairs. If you try and hunker down like amongst
Hunker Munker.
rocks with tarpaulins or canvas, it's just going to get ripped away by the wind.
Bungo would say, Lyra can help me craft the stone. I can create a small area we can hide in. Only enough for about 5 feet, though.
Oh,
Mm.
what, one person?
We can all try and squeeze in.
You get Bungo and Atala in there.
I can cast it a few times.
Grace
Take
Enough.
turns.
is going to cast Stone Skin on herself.
That's cool. I like that. Yeah.
With can I like Bungo's idea, but yeah, it's not big enough really.
I can cast it
With
4
shape-
times.
Yeah, well, yeah, that'd be
A
quite.
20-foot space would be useful.
If we did want to hunker down for a bigger rest.
How badly is this hail damaging us?
It hurts.
Yeah.
Tom,
Yes.
can I ask you the question as the DM?
Yeah, please.
So it says on here I can cast Fizzband's Platinum Shield.
Mm-hmm.
It says you create a field of silvery light that surrounds a creature of your choice within range.
Yep.
The field sheds out dim light out to 5 feet. While surrounded by the field, a creature gains the following benefits. Technically, if other people were in that 5 feet, would they also gain the same benefits?
No, because the range refers to the range of the spell from you,
Rubbish.
I believe. I can have a read. But that spell is awesome, and if you cast it on someone, it would essentially protect them from the elements for the time it's
But-
up.
Do you know what I'm thinking? Everybody needs to get within a 30-foot radius because I could cast Holy Aura because then we all get advantage on all saving throws and stuff like that.
Yeah, that would help.
Hmm. I was gonna do shape water above me, so like just constantly like washing away the
Yeah.
just above me.
Striking the ice out of the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Did we want to rest or are we pushing on?
It depends on how much longer we can go on for. Like what point did this start through our hour of walking?
It's happened at the end of your half hour of short rest.
Oh, okay.
We must push on. We do not have anywhere suitable to shelter.
I can make one within the rock.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're gonna do it, we need to do it now.
Yeah,
Yes.
you doing it, Bungo?
So, Mr. Goodbarrel.
Grace, how long do these hail intermittencies happen for? Because hail usually doesn't last very long.
Can be up to a day.
Hey, fuck it.
Oh,
Yeah.
brilliant. It's
Yep.
going to take us about 8 years to get up this mountain.
Hey man, I didn't say it'd be easy.
Does Grace communicate it might be a day?
Yeah, she'd be like, you know, it could be up to a whole.
Not
a whole
often.
sun.
It's not often a day.
No.
It could break
Right.
in a couple of hours, or it could, but there's no guarantee it will
Yeah.
break in a couple of hours.
It could be any time from a few hours to an entire sun.
Right, everyone get in the bungo den. I'm making a bungo. I'm casting stone shape 4 times to create a 20-foot den in the
Yep.
20-foot radius den in the rock somewhere.
Amazing. So you're finding like a cliff face with Grace's
Mhm.
help,
Yeah.
and then carving into the rock. I assume it would be
I'll put it in the chat for
So
you.
it's 4 5x5 blocks, right?
Yeah, I think so. You touch a stone object of medium size or smaller, or a section of stone more than 5 feet in any dimension, and form it into a shape that suits your purpose. So, for example, blah blah blah. Large rock into a weapon, or you can make a small passage through a wall as long as the wall is less than 5 feet thick. You'd also shape a stone door, its frame to seal the door shut. Object you can create up to 2 hinges and a latch.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you'd be able to shape like part of the stone into like a little cave. Was my thinking.
Yeah.
Create a little door of snow.
Shape large rock.
I don't know. I could use cone of ice cream to get us some treats.
Shape the stone door. Seal the door shut. Stone no more than 5. Yeah, 5 feet in any dimension. That's the bit I'm looking for. Yeah. So you're making 4 5x5 blocks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a 10x10 space and 5 feet
Yes.
tall.
Yeah.
All the tall people have to duck down.
All the tall people have to duck down, and you're going to be crammed. It's going to be
Mhm.
uncomfortable. But I think in that space, you could all manage to squeeze yourself in.
Yeah. Could you make it? Is that enclosed? Because if it's not, I'll just make a little snow door.
No, you can make a snow door at the front.
Yes.
That's not a problem.
Yeah, I don't think it would be enclosed, so you'd want to make a snow door.
Let's make
Oh.
a snow door.
Snow door.
Tala uses her magic to seal the snow door. The sounds from outside are muffled. Get a bit of a
Let's have some
reprieve.
dancing lights in here, shall we?
4 globes of light appear within the space as you are all treated to the backlit, very close faces of your companions.
I
As you're all
suppose this
crammed
is
in together.
one way to get to know each other better. Welcome to Chateau Goodbarrow.
Not often I'm grateful for being this short. Sometimes I can't reach my books, but this time I'm quite grateful.
Yes, you're right there, Blam. Your neck is quite a funny angle.
Make sure all you tall people, you shuffle down, sit on your butts.
I expected this journey to be difficult, but I didn't quite expect. Doesn't really prepare you for the reality of it, does it?
No, but my legs are a little bit grateful for taking a rest, I'll be honest. Even longer than half an hour.
Quite. How are you enjoying your first real big adventure, Sandral? And she.
Yeah,
Oh, she's
it's
there.
going well.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
How are you enjoying the snow and the hail?
Well, it's cold, but I'm enjoying myself fine.
I'm glad. I don't suppose you've spoken to Elder
Not for a bit. I kind of want to get to the top before I speak to him. Have something to actually tell him.
What does the old man get up to these days? Back at Tresendar, I imagine you've got a story or two you could share to keep us warm.
Well, mostly he spends a lot of time bossing around the villages and trying to sort out their business, and I spend a lot of time just training. It's not really anything too interesting.
There must be some funny villagers in Phandalin these days. Norm was a bit of a character.
Yeah, I like Norm.
What about all those other children who Elodius had you run through the marathon back in the day? What have they grown up to be? Strapping young men and women?
Not that I've really noticed. I try and keep myself to myself.
Very well. Anyone else got any stories?
I was thinking that Your weapon is taking up a lot of room. Not that that's a bad thing. It's just really big.
I bet he hears that all the time.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Grace would probably be like, "Who are all of these people you're talking about? I don't know. I'm lost."
Oh, apologies, Grace. We're just sharing some stories and some old friends. Well,
Ah, yes. I remember having friends.
do
They
you
all died on this very mountain.
Yeah, they probably would have.
do you not keep many close friends in this lifestyle, Grace?
Grace is true.
Eating some snow.
I suppose,
Ice cream.
I suppose you run out of meringues by this point.
I'm onto my dinner now.
Yeah, that's fair.
It was just the one meringue. It was just the one meringue, actually. She would just say, "It is difficult to balance my devotion to Bahamut and the risk of death that I face on a frequent basis with this work I undertake. The other sisters at the monastery are friendly enough, but I would not say they are friends."
This sounds like quite a lonely life. If I'm
I have
honest.
Bahamut.
Well, yes, I die of Lyra, but well, I'm sure Bahamut and, well, from talking with my friend Jorek, I think it's Bahamut can't. I imagine Bahamut can't be too happy that you would be without friends upon the road.
Bahamut considers it an ultimate sacrifice that I live my life without friendship or love.
Does it ever make you sad? To live without such things, without such joy in your life?
I will be honest at times, but it will be worth it when I go to Bahamut's eternal paradise.
Well, there are many ways to worship, but I respect yours and your devotion.
Oh my god, I'm doing a Joan. Not again!
What?
Grace is very different to Joan.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, but it's the same, like,
Oh,
when
I
you just
see.
she's gonna be like waving her bra around her head like, woo! Yeah, she's giving it thought, because she's never really stopped to think about it as like as anything apart from a sacrifice that needed to be made before. And while she's still inclined to think that that's exactly what she's doing, you have given her pause for thought. Pause for thought. She's back to Sorry, it's been a long day.
So whilst interesting conversation goes on, you'd hear two things. One, you'd hear the sound starting off soft, but getting a bit more intense as the minutes tick by. Blam, you'd hear this the most loudly. The sound of snoring coming from Father Ripe, who has curled himself up behind Blam, essentially trying to spoon him for heat, and is now snoring happily.
No.
And the second sound is the sound of chuckling from Ganksathal, who seems to be unbroken in his sunny demeanor and is sort of taking the situation in his stride, and just says, this reminds me, I heard of the custom in the Moonshay Isles where, kind of like this, everyone's stuck close together, only, well, theirs is more of a ritualistic thing. They'll all get together and well, remove their clothing and huddle close with all sorts of activities, and it's meant to bring the community close together and remind them that they're all one.
It's an interesting tale. Thanks, Athal. Each to their own, I suppose.
Indeed. But not if you're on the Moonshade Isles.
Quite, yes. I suppose you're all as one then, one for all, is what they're saying, guys. All for one.
Give you a big smile.
This reminds me of the tale of you must remember it, dear. The tale of the hero of the owlbear. Has anyone else heard that one? No? Oh well.
Gaxthar would shake his head and look annoyed that he doesn't know.
Well, there are stories, especially in the far north, the tale that, well, supposedly originates from the gossip of the 10 towns far to our west, and that beasts awaken with the intelligence of man, and no one is ever quite sure why. Some suspect magic, and some suspect druids up to no good in the wilds, and but well, the story of the owlbear hero, he supposedly this magic or whatever divine intervention had its whatever deity or being out there had its a day of fun. Well, this particular owlbear, he was granted a modicum of intelligence, and well, unlike what you'd expect from an owlbear, and not being a particular creature you'd want to run into in a cold day like this one, well, you see, this particular owlbear took up the sword and took up a cape. He donned himself a cape, and he called himself Owlbear the Hero, and he made his way across the 10 towns, and he would patrol the lands between, and those who got lost on the road, he would guide them back, and he would fight off awful monsters and polar bears and other creatures of the night and creatures of the cold. And well, it wasn't long before he became something of a legend of sorts, and well, some say that Owlbear the Hero is still out there now, just waiting to guide those lost back to the path sending you home.
It's a great story. Tyler does a little minor illusion of an owlbear with a cape and sword on the floor. It's like, I'm sure he was. I'm sure he's still around, maybe.
Well, if the legends are true, I think it's quite likely that the rumors say that he headed east and on the search for greater adventure beyond the 10 towns, and well, perhaps even this far east if we're lucky enough. You never know.
Rather brave owlbear. Going alone anyway.
What was that, dear?
I said he's rather brave going alone.
Well, yeah, I suppose when you're the size of an owlbear, I suppose and the fur is thick as an owlbear, I suppose you don't have to worry about the cold as much, and I suppose, well, not many a person is going to trifle with an owlbear carrying a sword now, is it?
I suppose not. No. Atala's gonna peek outside to see if the hail has stopped.
And as soon as you open up a little hole in your snow barrier, the wind whips in,
Oof.
and you quickly seal it up again. As you can see, the weather is ongoing.
Damn it. Seems we might be here for a while. You got any more stories, Bungo?
Well, I could tell stories all night, you know that, dear, but... Well,
Oh, I do.
I don't like
I'm just
to,
preparing with my magic over here.
I like to share
Not-
stories where we can.
Not enough, Bahamut.
Well, if, Bahamut you want, surely you know the tale of the two dragons.
Come on, Natalie. You know I don't.
Well, it's quite a tale, really. Well, many of the people here played a personal hand at it, but our good friend Jorek and, well, we found ourselves wrapped up in a tale of legend that one wouldn't quite believe, to be honest with you. We found our way in to the clutches of an evil god, Talona, the mother of poisons and disease. Her avatar, a foul creature of dark, viscous black, took the form of a dragon. Perhaps I like to think myself that perhaps it looked upon Jorek's true noble face and thought to make a mockery of it, but well, let's just say Jorek had the last laugh there as he struck the foul creature down with a mighty hammer blow, lightning bursting from the seams as it did, in the name of Bahamut. Those were the days.
Gangsterthal's eyes would go wide at that, and he'd be like, "Wait a minute." Looks to Blam. "Wait a minute." Looks to the rest of you. You're the arrows.
Yeah, yes, pleasure to meet you. Well, we already met, but,
Well, not properly. I've heard your story. It must be 100 times over.
well, I'm sure it's, greatly exaggerated.
Where's, the Quinzel, Elodius,
Bungo looks
The
to
great-
Sandro.
master of arrows himself?
What about ladies?
Gangsterthal has realized that you guys are Elodius' arrows, and he's like, "Where's Elodius?"
Oh, he's at home.
Oh. This, mission not enough to rouse him from his keep, then?
It's more that he's not physically able at his age.
What?
Well,
So recently he was striking dragons from the sky, skewering orcs, and firing off arrows all over the place. One man told
What?
me he shot an arrow into a whole castle and it fell down around him.
his arm work, fair enough, but his legs are going.
Terrible.
Well, it's what happens. We just a few bad years, or just a few years, and things just stop, I guess.
You should get Lanksum to make him some robotic legs.
No.
You should.
The two,
Well,
you know,
please.
you know the saying, Gangsterval, the two most powerful warriors are, well, patience and time.
I have had that. Though the way people tell the story, it would be number 1, Blam Wolfhorn, number 2, patience, number 3, time.
Well, I wouldn't disagree with that.
Is it true that you needed to get to the other side of a forest, and so you just set Blam ahead of you, and he chopped every tree down in a line along 20 miles?
Well, I don't wish to speak for the man himself.
Well, sir, did you?
Of course did.
Wha- That one sounded a bit far-fetched to me, but to hear from the man himself, I'll have to make sure to spread that around.
Well, don't spread it too much.
Oh, secrets. Interesting. And that makes you Gray. Kind of points towards you, Gray. I heard you could blend into the shadows, disappearing from sight at the drop of a hat.
Oh, I'm in these stories too, huh?
Without a doubt, yes. You're sort of the mysterious, brooding character on the side, you see.
Well, I'm not brooding. Am I, Bungo?
No, never.
It's not meant in a bad way, you know. Quite a hit with the ladies. You see, they seem to prefer the dark, mysterious character on the side. If they're not already a Blam Wolfhorn type, of course.
And how well known are these stories exactly?
All up and down the Sword Coast, without a doubt. I've heard it in inns as far south as, well, Baldur's Gate and beyond. Traders, caravans carrying the tales. You know how people are. They love a good story. It rolls off the tongue, melodious as arrows, you know?
So, up and down the Sword Coast, people know of my name.
Yes. I mean, it's just... I think it's kind of assumed that it's Monica. Is Gray your real... your name?
Well, let's keep things mysterious, shall we?
Ah, very good. Is it, well... No, I'm sure it's all true. Right. You hear different versions as you go up and down the coast, you see. Some people say Blam Wolfhorn is 10 foot tall, half giant. Others say that Bungo doesn't actually walk, he floats around on a shimmering golden bed of light.
That does
I
sound
suppose
nice.
it depends who's travelling around telling these stories, as Gray glares at Bungo.
No, don't look at me, Gray. This is as much as you might not believe me. It's not a story not a story I aim to make part of our central act. I can tell you that much. This is beyond my capabilities.
And you two, he sort of looks at Tala and Sandral, must be the newest arrows then. This must be another story to be told.
Hopefully.
I
Amazing.
suppose so.
Did you have to apply?
Well, it's one thing to apply, then it's another thing to just marry a party member.
Oh, well. That's there'll be many a swooning individual on the Sword Coast who would be heartbroken to know that the irrepressible Bungo Goodbarrel was now spoken for.
It's very in line with religious practices, though, right? Maybe they'll forgive me.
True. And did you have to apply?
No. I was sort of a trained replacement, you might say.
Oh, how interesting! Like like a reserve corps.
In a way, I suppose.
You're forgive me, but you seem awfully young. You say trained? It was five odd years ago, was it not?
Yeah, I
Like
guess I've come on. I guess I've come on a lot in all that time. Well, that little time.
I'd say so. Seeing how you handled those yetis. Wow. Sharing a carved rock den with Elodius's arrows up Mount Archelon.
Hmm.
I'm not a part of the group.
Get out of it, Terry.
I'd join if they asked me to.
So hard.
I have a place in the Elodius's arrows.
This is what happens when Arnie doesn't get to play Wardy. Terry runs over.
I'm doing it at work.
It doesn't
Oh,
surprise me
God.
at all.
And this is Quentin Bell's bedroom. Welcome.
Right. Well, the Atala occasionally checking, the weather seems to persist for hours. Time wears on, you're all in this cramped space, not particularly enjoying yourselves. Mercifully, Father Wright seems to sleep through all of it, snoring away. At some point, probably into the second hour, Rayla Abtel would actually tug on your sleeve, Grace, with a worried look on her face, and just say to you, Miss Grace, is this a bad sign? Does Bahamut not want us going up the mountain?
Bahamut challenges us to make sure we are worthy of receiving his blessings at the peak of Mount Archelon.
Oh, of course. Thank you.
Do not worry, Mrs. Abtul. I will get you there as safely as I know how.
She would nod in thanks and smile. Thank you. You'd see her sort of shuffle, squeeze back next to her husband, and they begin to converse in a different language. Okay. Time passes. The weather is not abating. It's coming to be early evening now. You're losing light outside. What's the plan? We sticking in Bungo's tiny stone hovel?
We're
Or
gonna
we
have
gonna
to
push
sleep
up?
in Bungo's stone vagina, aren't we?
Oh well, as
It's
it's
an
night
option.
time. Yeah.
Can I just say, before I forget, that now I'm thinking that Gray's name's actually like a moniker and it's like Gerald Ray is his real name or something.
Amazing.
Gracifer.
Stefan remains silent. Like,
I'm saying nothing.
I would say, seeing as Atala, you're paying close attention to the weather, that as the light does begin to sort of bleed from the sky, the storm does lessen. As the sun sets and you head into night, the storm grows weaker and weaker, seems to pass off further down the mountain range, and slowly calm does settle across the night.
Should mention that to Grace and just say, I think the hail is letting up out there. Though it is getting a bit dark, I don't know if that's the best idea for a time to travel up.
No, I think not. Tom,
Yes.
with thaumaturgy, right? Can it actually create the flames? Because it says you cause flames to flicker, brighten, dim, or change colour for 1 minute.
No. You need a flame already.
Damn it!
But you have
can make-
torches.
I
But
can make
also,
flame.
Oh.
you're in a tiny rock space. It might not be a great idea to.
Well, no, I know, but we gotta have something to keep us warm.
Can
So
we
literally
carve out? I mean, yeah. I mean, it's quite airtight now that I put a door on. I think, right? Well, kind of. What about if we use the little pickaxes to like carve out a little space for a fire in the wall?
If some of you head
Oh.
outside, you could.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
swinging
With all-
around pickaxes.
With all of you in there, yeah, you can't get
I was
leverage.
going to say, Tom's going to make it so you start hacking into the wall and then the whole mountain starts falling on us. And we're like,
Well,
Got you all!
yeah, there's also
Um,
that, and there's be smoke as well inside, so maybe not.
But,
And
I
then
mean,
outside.
with the weather dissipating, you could just head back outside a bit.
Oh, imagine the irony if Grace had done this so many times just to succumb to carbon
Yeah.
dioxide poisoning inside a stone vagina.
Oh, yeah.
You've all got to make dexterity saving throws to get out of Chateau de a good barrel. Because it was so tightly packed in here.
You guys should hotbox it.
Oh, yeah.
Don't look at me while I'm yawning.
Turn it into a sauna.
Good too.
Oh no. Well, Gray's already in his Blam's already in his pants, so
Oh, there you go.
Blam's life as a sauna.
live by the sauna, die by the sauna.
So, are you guys staying there for the night?
I think
that
so.
fine?
I think so, right? We're not making it to that other one.
The bear cave.
Yeah.
Okay. So, assuming you don't want to all be completely crammed in all night, as long as the weather holds decently, and if you look outside, the wind has pretty much died down now, apart from the occasional little gust or breeze.
If it's died down that much, can I like extend the cave with like a snow igloo?
Absolutely. Alongside tarpaulins and tents that you've got with you, you can set up a pretty decent shelter for the night.
Yes.
Day one.
Day one in the rocky alcove. Gray's starting to feel a bit anxious.
An hour and a half up the mountain.
No, we're doing Rocky Alcove campaign now with Steph narrating the whole thing. But yeah, an hour and a half's progress up the mountain. Let me write that into my notes. Okay. Are you setting watch?
Yeah, Bungo will take a watch.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Talo will have a watch.
Grace would most definitely not, because she thinks that Bahamut will protect them. So,
Hmm.
and if we die, then well, tough shit. That was what Bahamut wanted.
If we die, I'll bring you back to life with spend more fucking money on diamonds.
Ah, the cleric life. Okay. So, Bungo, if you wouldn't mind, let's see that stonking perception modifier.
With advantage from my sentinel shield.
Yep.
Makes it a 27.
Amazing. So, gazing out into the night, the stars are obscured. It's very dark out here. It seems like there's cloud cover overhead, but it is somewhat peaceful up here, away from the rest of civilization. Time passes, and you find yourself alone with your thoughts, thinking back to recent events, and perhaps cooling on for comfort some of your more distant memories.
Mm,
But your watch passes without incident.
good.
And switch with Atala.
Mm-hmm.
Perception check, please, Atala.
Oh, my perception sucks. Why am I doing it? My perception sucks. Hold on. There we go. Oh, never mind.
Yes, looks so bad.
Yeah. So, again, once more, you're left with your thoughts. Plenty to think about. It's occurred, how your life has changed from the travelling troupe, and before that, to your own studies, the travelling troupe, to now adventuring out into these cold climates and things that are happening to you and happening by your hand. But, same as Bungo, your watch passes without incident.
Cool.
Was someone doing a third watch? Or was Atala's extending because she's
Nah,
sleeping?
nah, Gray would be happy to.
Perception check, please.
Tyler will go pretend to sleep.
If anything, he'll be glad to just spend some time outside of the damn cave for a moment.
Which is probably getting pretty smelly by this point.
Oh, can you imagine?
Yep.
And whilst he's out here, he'll probably, despite, as you just said, like, you can't see the stars or anything, he'll probably be feeling this strange kind of relief that for so long he hadn't left Neverwinter since their last adventure, and now that he has, and he's pretty damn far away from it as far as you can get, really.
Here
He
it's
feels
always
strangely, yeah, he feels sort of pleased. He feels like he's been needing to do this for a long time now, and he sort of feels like a bit more of a, like he's doing, he hopes he's pleasing Celestian, for example. They may be looking down on him and thinking, it's about damn time.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think as you sort of breathe in the very cold air and you sort of look around, and now that the blizzard's no longer here and you can get a decent look even with the limited light around, you sort of compare the crags and the rocky outcrops to some of the rooftops and varying skyline of Neverwinter. And
Well, I mean, fuck it. Just for shits and giggles, he'll probably cast Eyes of Night just to get a really good view.
fantastic. And sadly there's no one to see, but as you commune with your deity Celestian, there is a sparkling of starlight across your eyes, and your vision extends out further, and you're treated to a beautiful scene of stark whites and pitch blacks, almost a monochrome landscape of these shifting colours and a soft snow falling behind it all. And yeah, you feel out here wandering in a way, away from civilization, out in a new place on an adventure. You feel the closest to him you've been in a long time.
Even after his shift is finished, he probably feels like he just wants to stay outside. But
Of course.
knows it would be best not to. Well, actually, no. I suppose when you take the last shift, that's basically the end of the night, right?
People would wake up as around
Yeah.
you as you're finishing it off.
Yeah.
And yeah, with your perception, you keep a sharp eye, but nothing disturbs you.
Cool.
Okay. A new day dawns. A new set of roles, please. Anybody like to volunteer?
I did it last time, but we saw how well
I
that
did.
went.
Was it?
3d10 for me, please.
Okay.
Make him good, yeah.
Probably. Oh.
In order?
5, 6, 2.
5, 6, 2. Interesting. Okay. So, as day breaks, the cloud cover thickens slightly, and with a sense of inevitability, like the frosted breath you see emanating with a rhythm from your mouths and the beating hearts inside you, a thicker blanket of snow begins to fall from the sky. It's not being battered around by the wind. The winds are actually seemingly pretty calm at daybreak this morning, but there is a thickness to the snow as it falls down around you. Visibility is somewhat reduced, though nowhere near as bad as it was for you the day before. It seems you've begun this new day with much gentler weather.
Nice. I'm gonna cast my little disc.
Plonk further right on it.
Yep.
Yep, and he seems in as good a shape as can be expected for a geriatric climbing a massive fuck-off mountain.
Well, I'm as ready as I'm gonna be. Let's hope this next day is a bit more progressive.
Indeed.
Okay, so you're setting out?
I think so.
Yeah? Grace leading the way?
Yes. What did you just throw at me?
One of the little makeup brush things.
Oh, good to know.
Okay, you set back out onto your path, onto the stairs once more. Their shape and feel now familiar to you as you start heading. Now, with the blizzard no longer in ascendance, you're no longer making half progress. So, I'm assuming we head off for an hour?
Yes.
So long.
Then
Yes.
rest again.
Whatever is safe.
Yeah.
I know not.
This is pretty gentle weather, definitely towards the kinder side in these mountains. The snow continues to fall and it settles on you, but compared to the day before, you are all now treated to the stunning, rugged sights of the mountain as you ascend higher and higher. Often the stairs themselves wind towards the edge of a valley crevice, and you can look down upon this pure white snowscape, occasionally spotting animal tracks, and so on. The kind of thrust of the stone out into empty space is incredibly striking as you're treated to a landscape that I don't believe any of you have really been treated to before. But the hour passes. Are we doing our rest plan? Or are you pushing on?
I think so. I think Atala would ask Grace of Gods how far the second place to rest is, and if we could make it or not. If we tried.
Oh, Lord knows. Tom?
The Lord does know.
Hammett knows.
And it is a bit longer. It's 5 hours.
Okay.
From the abandoned bear cave to what's called the Stonewing Overhang.
Okay, so we couldn't make there and the bear cave, so we kind of need to do them separately.
Yeah, I assume so.
Well, you can always push on, but obviously exhaustion
Yeah.
and so on. Depends how quick you feel you need to be.
It seems we may have extended our journey by a day by accident, unless we have any ways of going a bit faster. I'm not sure.
Oh, Jorik. We're no good to Jorik if we're dead.
That's true.
As much as I would love to hurry this journey, there's only one way I have, and it's very risky.
And what would that way be?
I would rather not use it. And he pulls out the scroll of teleport.
Ah, no. We'll save that. Yeah.
Yes,
I'm not sure.
tried to aim a teleportation spell that I've never, certainly not in my usual capabilities. Trying to aim such a thing on top of a mountain is probably not a good idea.
Probably not. I thought I had issue with the dimension door spell, let alone teleportation.
Quite. Well, it's there as a plan Z. Let's put it that way.
Well, for now, I suppose we just have to deal with the fact that we're a day behind. Let's make it to that bear cave.
Agreed. Onwards.
Are you expending the spell slot again for the half-hour short rest?
Yeah, I'll do it.
We don't need to if we're going for the bear, because I think we'll make it. It's only, what's it, 2.5 hours or 3.5 hours away?
Now that you've travelled an hour, you should have another hour and a half to go.
So
Don't
if you want to
lose
go
it.
to the second one, it's 6.5 hours.
Yeah.
But we've already travelled an hour. So I got 7 hours of travel.
Travel.
That's without breaks, right? Or is that with breaks?
That's without breaks.
Yeah.
You can just start taking exhaustion points. What's a big deal? You heal one of them each night.
No, I'll spend a spell slot so we can take another short rest.
Okie doke. So that's a half hour, so we can travel an hour and a half now. Covered an hour's distance. Okay. So, after the short rest with the burst of Lyra's light, it's actually only half an hour before Grace holds up her hand to stop the rest of you in your path. The issue is immediately obvious to all of you, and you'd probably been wondering what's going to happen as you were getting towards it, because the next stage of the stairs as they wind up the side of this seemingly endless mountain, Mount Archelon, there's a very heavy drift of snow that seems to have settled across the stairs themselves. In many places, the stairs become hidden underneath the snow. In others, there's just a thick blanket on the stair itself.
Mhm.
Grace, with her hand held up, would tell you that this is a frequent occurrence after a storm such as the one last night, that you were quite lucky to not experience it earlier. But you have a choice to make in terms of timing. Either you take extra care on the stairs, you'll go even worse than half pace, you'll be going at a third pace for the last hour of travel that you need to do up the stairs, tripling the time needed. Or Grace is aware of a shortcut. However, the shortcut requires some clambering and climbing. It's not too difficult, it's not like a vertical cliff face to scale or anything, but it's kind of a bit of a scramble up a rocky side of the mountain.
Just do it.
I mean, we have elderly. I'd rather not. What about DM if I were to be at the front and use my magic to move 5 feet of snow at a time?
Does it say like a 5 feet cube of like water?
Yeah, but remember this is water, so you can make up your mind whether it works.
Snow's
We've
water.
been doing it on
It's a
snow,
solid
so
state.
it says you can instantly move or otherwise change the flow of water as you direct up to 5 feet in any direction. So I was just gonna move the snow off the cliff, off the stairs.
I like it. I think you would see the only potential issue is that where in some of the places the snow is piled up, just shifting the bottom 5 feet of that is just going to cause more snow to like tumble down.
Oh,
But that doesn't mean it doesn't work. It just means it won't be a perfect system.
yeah. But I was
no.
thinking it maybe like cuts the time from like a third to maybe like half or something.
100%. What I was about to say.
Okay, cool.
What
That's
if
an idea.
What if I were to help Atala and cast Control Water?
Oh.
I'll put it in the chat. Where is it? 4th level.
Holy shit.
It's a long
That's
spell.
a lot of text.
Until the spell ends, you control any freestanding water inside an area you choose that is a cube up to 100 feet on a side. You can choose from any of the following effects when you cast this spell. As an action in turn, blah blah blah. Flood, obviously I don't want to do that. Doesn't make much sense. Part water was the one I was looking at. You cause water in the area to move apart and create a trench.
I mean, yeah, that would part the snow immediately
Yeah.
in front of you.
So for 10 minutes, maybe that gives us full movement for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I can do that.
Just the once for the 10 minutes.
How long do we need it for?
It's about an hour's worth of travel.
Yeah.
I can do it for 50 minutes if we really need to, but it's using up a lot of big spell slots.
It depends on, do we need the time? I don't think we need that much time. If we're going half pace with just the control with my one, does that get us there in time?
If you mean in the rest of the day to get to the bear cave, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do that then, I guess.
So it'll take 2 hours with half time to get up
Mhm.
these stairs. So everyone with a 1 is still going to take an exhaustion point. 'Cause I assume there's nowhere to stop on these stairs.
But not with the snow piled up, no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that cool?
let's do it, yeah.
Okay.
I think it's better
So,
than
with it-
climbing.
Atala leading the way.
Mhm.
You begin to sort of rhythmically sweep, step, and make your way along the stairs. Grace shepherding and helping out with Father Wright. With the slower pace, you're able to support him without much issue. However, with the 2 hours of travel, yes, Bungo and Atala, if you can both give yourselves a point of exhaustion, please.
Mhm.
Father
Tara's
Wright.
been working freaking hard for 2 hours.
It's very true.
Hmm. Should I give 2?
I'm
be
not
fair.
ruling it that way,
Okay.
but
Let's do one.
if you want to. But no, I think I justify it in my head as, whilst exhausting, Atala is kind of in a unique situation where she's spending her relationship to exhaustion and sleep is a very different one to everyone else. With how much time she spends in like concentration and studying, I kind of see this repeated casting of a cantrip as being almost like you're studying. It's like focusing on one thing over a great period of time.
Sounds good. I like.
Okay. So Father Wright does gain 2 points of exhaustion.
Ooh.
Right, let me see if I can do anything to help that.
I mean, straight water is not concentration, so technically I could have the disc for an hour. It's up to you.
Yeah, I think casting it constantly would be like concentrating.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
But he is being helped along. It's not a situation where if he was carried he wouldn't have the exhaustion. It's literally just the constant movement, having to keep going is what exhausts him. So it's just really fucking cold.
We've got great restoration if we desperately need it, so
Oh yeah, burn all of Bungo's stuff.
don't want to burn the diamond dust if I can help it.
Okay. But with Atala's attention to detail, you safely navigate the potential hazard, and you make your way. Grace points out a well hidden in the side of the mountain itself, a large cave. It looks imposing and still bears a faint smell of the animal that used to live within, but she assures you that this is used frequently by those who travel these paths. And you head inside, I assume?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Well,
It's about midday.
there could be something in the cave, so maybe we should like investigate it first.
Yeah.
I dropped my pen.
I love it.
Fucked it up in my pen. Oh, whatever.
Yeah? If you want to investigate, you can roll an investigation check for me.
I'm just thinking how I want to investigate. I think let's do a nice callback. Gray, you're good at sneaking into caves and not getting caught. How about we try that again? It didn't work out that well with the orcs that one time, but
I'm impressed you still remember that after all these years, little guy.
how could I forget, old friend?
As long as those aren't in the stories. Yeah, give me a moment. Just gonna go in.
Yeah?
Have a look
Stealth
around.
check for me, please.
We'll cast guidance.
Yep. D4.
Uh,
For all the difference it's going to make.
Well, I mean,
28
do I,
stealth roll.
would I then want to do an investigation?
Oh, fair point. Yeah.
Technically, I can
Chuck it
cast
on that
guidance on
instead.
both.
Yeah. D4.
Yeah.
Nice. That was what you needed to hit. Okay.
Oh,
So with the stealth roll, it's almost you're going through your motions, but almost in an exaggerated manner. In your journey north so far, after being in the city so long, it's you worry perhaps that your skills might dull a little bit, not having to put them to use almost every day, and so you go through the motions far beyond what's needed, and to the rest of the party, you just disappear. They see you walking forwards, and then there's like the slight shift in your movement, and you just seem to blend with the shadows of the cave itself, and you disappear. With your investigation, you head inside, and with that roll, you head right to the back of the cave. It's quite large. The smell, long gone, of the animal is a little bit stronger back here, but still faint. You don't think it's been reoccupied by any animals. But you do find something. You find right at the back, tucked in to the corner, you find the remnants of a small wood fire, largely shown by burns on the ground and a small amount of ash. It looks like most of it has been cleaned up, but whoever did the cleaning didn't do a particularly good job. With your knowledge, it seems fairly recent, the burns on the ground. Perhaps the night before. And you would also find, sort of tucked behind a small rock right at the back near the burns of the fire. It doesn't look like it's been put there on purpose, it looks like it's been dropped, is a handkerchief, small piece of fabric, with the initials VS on it.
yeah.
Oh shit.
Fuck. Where is he? Oh no, wait. There's loads of. Who's with us? Yeah. Okay. I've got an idea. I'll take that hanky. And if there's nothing else,
No, seemingly not.
I'm trying to remember. Would it be Grace who'd be the most familiar with the Sandersons and all the dwarven folk?
Yeah, I think so. And she's not that familiar herself.
But out of all of everyone here, would be the most likely.
Yeah, I mean, Blam has spoken to Verenia Sanderston, but Grace has some small familiarity with Varda Sanderston.
So he'll probably just show her this. Mention that the campfire looks recent, so if she agrees, it was probably the company before us. The ones that left before we did.
Yeah.
That would be my guess anyway.
Yeah, I think that seems sensible to me. That seems what Grace would suggest you do.
So whether or not is she at all surprised that they've gotten this far, gotten further ahead of us, that we haven't caught up?
No, what are your thoughts, Tom?
I mean, it would make sense because the weather kind of caught you guys out, and they started off a little bit before you.
Okay.
You might also come to the conclusion that you guys are being very safe. That you're having to travel with a rather old gentleman, whereas Grey, when you saw the group of the guys before, they were all looked young, healthy, fit, strong, mining folk. Their packs were filled with ice picks and climbing gear and what have you, so it might be that they're taking the very quickest route possible.
I mean, they didn't fly around on magical discs either.
No magical discs for them that you're aware of.
So yeah, just that the cave is all clear.
Yeah.
If
Great.
Bungo was to investigate, could he like just have a look out to see if there's any sign of like any like injuries, like blood or anything on the floor, or anything that might indicate that they were in a struggle of sorts?
Sure. Yeah, roll an investigation check for me, please.
Wait, were there signs of a struggle?
You didn't see any, but I'm just in case.
Not that you saw,
No.
Gray, and yeah, Bungo,
Thought so.
you find the same thing.
Yeah.
Black marks on the ground.
Okay. That's probably a good thing.
Yeah. So you will gather inside, out of the weather. The weather does begin to shift a little as you take your first hour in the cave itself. The snow worsens, gets thicker, but it doesn't quite get to the gusting blizzard of yesterday. You can even watch, seeing as you're in the cave now, you watch your tracks being covered by another thick layer of snow just outside the cave itself. But in the shelter, you're safe and sound and as warm as can reasonably be asked. Is there anything you'd like to do with essentially downtime now?
I'm just gonna say I'll probably have to go in a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can end a little bit early. At the cave,
cave?
if people think that's sensible.
I could do with a sleep.
Yeah.
I don't
Poor
mind
Anya's
to.
falling asleep on her desk as well. I've been throwing things at her to keep
I was gonna say, and she got a pile of stuff by her feet.
Yeah, I think that's all right.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Yeah. I ummed and ahed in planning the session because I didn't want. It's that weird thing with D&D stuff where it's like you want it to be kind of pacey and exciting, but then it's also like that isn't every element of adventure, and I want the going up the mountain to feel as I believe it has so far, which is just like, oh god, this is hard. So yeah.
It's not the right word, but it's something of a chore. It's like, oh
Yeah.
god, let's just get off this damn mountain.
That's absolutely what I want it to feel like. I'd say that is, yeah, if not quite the right word, certainly adjacent to it. And you're early on in your climb as well.
Yep.
Things are gonna get interesting. But yeah, I said to Kieran, I've been having fun with flowcharts today.
I managed to improvise my backup character, so
I would be surprised if anybody died at this point that isn't called Father Right.
I was just gonna say.
he's just a money cost. Like he's not gonna die. He's just gonna get brought back like 5 times and waste all my diamonds.
Well, I will say, because Grace did mention this to the group before, which is there are some areas of the stair which are not in good nick. So there will be areas where you might have to jump over things or climb over things, and you don't have the choice of taking your time. It's just a fact. So
Easy.
He's dead.
yeah. No, he's not. I think of it as like the garden gnome in Half-Life 2.
Oh my
You gotta
fucking god! I forgot about that.
You gotta try and get him to the top of the mountain, and if you do, that's like a super achievement. And
No,
Bahamut will come down and be like, "You've done well."
you have to tell him my floating disc does not jump.
I would love if Atala didn't know that and just try. And it's just like, see ya. But yeah,
So it just falls with him.
yeah, we'll see how it goes. But you guys have done well so far. You lost a day,
Mm,
but
yeah.
you chose the safe option. Staying out in that storm would have had some very interesting
Oh, I
potential
bet.
consequences.
Yeah. Oh.
But yeah.
Are
Can
we in the
everyone
basement
do-
now, aren't we?
Next Sunday.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Sweet, sweet. Next Sunday, it shall be then, 7:30. Same time, same place.
Oh no, actually, I can't do next Sunday.
Ah.
Yeah, I'm really sorry. I've got to stay at my brother's house to watch over his dogs. I forgot about that.
Bastard.
I could do the
Hmm.
Saturday night. Yeah, I can't do the Monday either. So yeah.
Yeah. What can people do? People want to just skip the week, or people want to try for Saturday or Monday?
Wait,
Yeah.
Saturday 19th? Yeah. No, I might not be able to do the 19th.
Yeah, I can't do Saturday.
Yeah, I can't do the Monday either because I'm at my brother's then as well.
That's all right. These
Sorry.
things happen. It's
Mhm.
all good.
No
So
worries.
we'll have a break next week, and then we'll rejoin the week after.
Cool.
Sweet.
Okie dokie.
Thank you, one and all. Go and get
Mhm.
yourselves a good sleep. Have a good night.
Thank you, Tom. That was very fun.
Oh.
Thank you. Wonderful players.
Thank
See
you.
later.
It
You're
was-
welcome.
Yeah.
Bye for
Good night,
now.
everyone.
Goodbye.
Night, night.
No.